Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the Italian Tier 9 heavy tank, the Progetto 66. Now this Italian heavy tank at Tier 9 is actually the only one of the line that I actually ever liked. Because the Tier 8 was poo, the Tier 10 was just frustrating to play. Although now, obviously, if you've seen the video from the other day, the Rinoceronte is really quite nice to play. And so is the Tier 8 now, and the Tier 8 will be coming soon. This tank always felt quite nice to play, because this 120mm was just not that frustrating to use, because the accuracy was alright, it was a bit so-so. The reload isn't too bad, quite frankly. I mean, you were putting out shots every 12 seconds or whatever, 12, 13 seconds with a clip. 11.6 seconds, as you see there, to be fair, with food boost. It just didn't feel that bad. Considering that a lot of other Tier 9 heavy tanks at the tier, you know, have like random 13-second reloads, which they get down to like 11 or 12, yeah, about 10 or 11, 12 second reloads. This gun never felt that bad, and I like the fact that it had the clip. It never felt that inaccurate, and just generally, I never felt like I was out of the game for too long, as opposed to the other two tanks. And it has actually got buffed, although not majorly to this gun. Although it did get some nice extra changes in penetration. So what did get buffed? Well, let's have a look. The major changes were mostly to the 105mm gun that this tank got, and the accuracy got nerfed from 0.34 to 0.37, the aim time from 3.1 to 2.7, the clip count went from 4 to 3, and the standard penetration went from 258 to 242. Now, I never recommended the 105, like, ever, because you actually reloaded slower on that best DPM shell than you did with this 120mm. And this 120mm does slap with the 400 alpha. So it was like, why have the extra shell? What's the point? It's going to take you longer to dish out the damage, and you have a similar clip potential anyway. The only thing it had was penetration and the APCR rounds. This 120mm was always better to me and is always the one that I recommended. And on this 120mm, they literally knocked off 0.4 off of all of its reloads, which is not much at all. Barely noticeable. In fact, this replay that you're seeing right now in front of you is actually the unbuffed state of this 120mm, which, yeah, not too much changed with it, because the only real change that, and the only real impacted change, is the fact that it went from 242 standard pen to 258 standard pen, which, don't doubt, because that extra 16 pen is a hell of a lot. And in terms of the accuracy on the move, actually, and the vehicle rotation, it actually got nerfed. It went from 22 to 0.26, which is a little bit of a nerf, but hey-ho. It still performs really damn nice. The 120mm, it was always the one to go for me, personally. I know a lot of people liked it because of the extra shell in it. You know, you felt like you fired maybe a little bit quicker, but you just didn't. This 120mm was always the way forward, and they've basically buffed it as the line of progression goes to make it so that this is the gun that you go for. Like, the end gun actually has the best penetration, which is the way it should have been, again, all the time beforehand. Don't know why it was the other way around. And yeah, this gun, I have, like I say, always really enjoyed it, because it never felt too bad to just dump the clip. It never felt that bad to just go, you know what, I need 1200 damage, I need to wipe this guy out, and I'm not going to suffer too badly from just going dump, full dump, and then having to sit through this reload. So, in terms of a crew that I run on this tank, by the way, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Trap Mechanic, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, off-road driving, because the mobility of this tank is also pretty damn solid, and helping it with the off-road driving is exactly what you want to do, because it can get up to 44 kilometers an hour around that area, which is absolutely great for a heavy tank. Don't doubt that. For a heavy tank, 44 kilometers an hour is great, and it just helps you get around to have the off-road driving and, you know, help the ground resistances quite a lot. And in terms of the other stuff, well, it is one of those tanks, like every other auto-reloader, where missing shells is a little bit painful, and helping the shells as much as possible, well, helping the accuracy as much as possible is exactly what you want to do. So, buffing the reload up with all the gun perks is just what you need in your life. And yeah, this gun is great, because I don't feel bad for dropping 2 shells to finish people. I don't feel bad for dropping the whole clip, and I also don't feel that punished for just sticking as a single shot. It's the tank that I always felt was the most rounded out of the 3 auto reloader heavy tanks, And it's the one that I always had the most fun in, and it can be a solid tank. So in this game, on Redshire, like I say, this is actually the unbuffed state of the tank, but because there wasn't too many changes with this tank that impacted the gun, except for really truly the penetration of 0.4 off the reload, which you don't really notice too much, I was like, okay, you know what, this was a good game, this was one that I have had in the archives, I'll use it. And as you see, this tank was still capable even before it got any changes, as we managed to get some nice shots into the FV4005. I looked to blow the final shell. Like I say, I don't mind blowing the clip. Because we're closing in on this enemy team, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to drop the shells, I'm not going to wait for reloads, and I want to get as much damage as I possibly can. We got that nice shot into the 60 TP's tracks, we get a nice shot into the M48A5, and then managed to ram him to death, which is exactly what we want to do. If we run out of shells, just use the tank itself. So now there's only 2 tanks left, there's the artillery and the 60 TP. We're up to 5.9k damage with 2.2k assist. The artillery gets shut down from further away, which is really unfortunate. And now we've got to get after this 60 TP, which, quite unfortunately, is not going to happen. And he gets shut down by the Kranvan. And so we finished that game with a really nice tally for the Progetto 66. We finished top on our team with a victory, obviously. 3 kills, 5.9k damage, and 2.2k assist. Ace tanker, the kamikaze for ramming a tank a tier higher. High caliber, the sniper of the Confederate, 1837 base XP. A really nice game for the Italian tier 9 heavy tank, which I've always really enjoyed. It's just a tank that, I don't know, I suppose it's one of those tanks that I've just clicked with, right? And I always enjoyed it because I felt like I could have an impact in the battle. And I love the Autoreloader system. The Autoreloader system is something that I loved getting a handle of, I loved using. It's just a shame that on this version of the game, they completely neutered all of them that they could have ever released and made them just a little bit painful at times to use. But thankfully, they've seen sense with this heavy tank line, and they've actually made it so that, you know, you can use them. Well, the tier 8 and the tier 9, I should say, the tier 8 and the tier 10. You know, they've buffed those enough to be able to use them. This tank, like I say, always felt like I could use it. Always felt like I could have a big impact in the game. And that's exactly what we've been doing. So we're on this game on Great Wall, and I've decided, you know what, I'm not going to go up the hill and spend years climbing it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here onto this corner and brawl on the heavy tank corner. Because this is a good corner for getting hull down on, getting some good shots out, and just, you know, being a good nuisance and brawling and things like that. So this game is the buffed state of the tank. This is today, when on the tank's day of release. And this is where the penetration difference is going to help. 258 pen means that shooting this 777 version 2 and the 257 isn't going to be as awkward as it would have been, because these two tanks for 242 pen have awkward moments where you just don't pen them. With 258 pen, that extra 16 helps makes all the difference. So as you saw with the first shot I had on that 777 version 2, we actually ended up penning him and tracking him, which we might have struggled to do beforehand. We're getting good shots into this 257 on his upper plate, but we are shooting slightly down, so it's always going to be a fairly easy pen for us. He pokes around the corner, we get another shot into his upper plate again. We're up to 1450 damage. As you see, like, just the reload of this tank, you don't ever truly feel out of the battle. You can just keep going, and when you truly need to, you can drop the clip. So we get a nice shot into the M48A5, we tracked him in place, and then we're pulling back, because this KV4 is coming over. It's KV4, right? You still got to pay tanks respect, but the KV4 is not going to be too much of a threat to us, because I can pen him quite easily, and he doesn't have the best reload in the universe. So we pop over, be a bit cheeky, get a nice shot into the M48 again, check what my teammates are, how healthy they are, and what's actually behind me. So now that I know that there's a really healthy Type 5 on this corner, I'm actually fairly confident he's going to be able to hold the corner for a decent amount of time, so I can just deal with this KV4. I'm not making the mistake of blowing my load too soon, and right now is the time. We can kill this guy, and we have. That was patience there. We didn't want to blow our reload or our clip too soon there. We wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to take too long to get the clip back in to be able to keep fighting on this corner, because we are in a bit of a tight situation. We've got these guys over here, and I'm just waiting for that final shell to go in the clip so I can get involved, get stuck in and help the Type 5 in the AMX-30. Fortunately enough, the AMX-30's managed to shut down that guy. The first shot, unfortunately, ends up doing tracks only to the 257. We should have aimed a little bit longer, but fortunately enough, the AMX-30 does manage to do some damage to him, and we get to shut him down. Now there's the M48 Patton, who's managed to heat his way through the Type 5. He's the last one alive on this little flank over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a shot into him on the move. We low roll quite significantly, which means we have to ram him to be able to kill him with this shot. And we shut him down. The artillery slaps us, takes most of our health. We're on 4.9k damage. And right now I'm going to slash the replay up again to save another 2 minutes of driving. And we're going after the Kampfpanzer. We know where the TD is. The Kampfpanzer I was expecting to be somewhere on this line we've gone to. And there he is, spotted just coming out of their base to go after our medium tank. And we are in the perfect place to be able to get some shots into him. So we get one in, we get two. We're going for the final shell. Can we get it? And we do get to shut him down. There's only the Death Star left, but he is getting attacked by our medium tank. And they shut him down. So we finished the game with a very nice total once again, for a tank that is really, really nice to play. And we finished with 4 kills, 6k damage, ace tanker, high caliber, sniper. You've just got to have the patience to be able to get the most out of this tank. And we came second on the team with 1784 base XP. As I said, it's a tank I've always clicked with. I've always really enjoyed it. You've just got to have a bit of patience and just have a bit of know-how in getting the most out of the auto-reloader system. This line is so much more worth grinding out. It's just great fun. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!